welcome to Fulton County Library presents the Library Access. I'm your host, Brianna Botsford. This summer, the Fulton County Library System is buzzing with energy, creativity, and community. We kicked off summer reading at the Central Library with an epic partnership. Microsoft and Best Buy joined forces to bring tech-powered fun to young minds and generate a love of reading for all who attended. Over at the Sandy Springs Library, brushes met imagination. Instructor Marilyn Shuster encouraged and taught teens and families how to explore the world of painting, discovering art as a gateway to storytelling. At the East Point Library, Juneteenth came alive through expressive art, shared stories, and meaningful moments, honoring history, resilience, and freedom. Keep watching to see what the Fulton County Library System has in store. On June 7th, we launched our summer reading program, Color My World, at Central Library with help from tech giants Microsoft and Best Buy. Families explored hands-on activities, games, virtual reality, and interactive workshops that blended literacy with digital and artistic discovery.
Of the 2025 summer reading program is Color Our World. And with the fine support of Microsoft, we took a few liberties and said Color My World with Microsoft. Central Library will host a special summer reading kickoff. That's today, June 7th. Empowers all residents with essential tools for lifelong learning. Do you agree that we're doing all that? All right. Good. The Board of Commissioners of the Fulton County Library recognizes the importance of the summer reading program in developing lifelong learners, fostering literacy skills in children, teens, and adults, and celebrating the vast resources available to the county at the library.
So we're really excited to have this opportunity. Microsoft, this is our first time actually in Atlanta having the opportunity to put books into the library. And so we're hoping we'll continue to do that. As you said, over 300 books from Microsoft directly have been actually donated directly to the library.
It was a lively event, and we want to thank Microsoft, Best Buy, the Atlanta Fulton Public Library Foundation, and our guest speaker, Sasha Alston, for showing support for this year's summer reading. At Sandy Springs Library, the focus turned to creativity. Our summer reading art program invited teens and families to explore painting, guided by Marilyn Shuster, local artist and longtime library enthusiast. Participants learned how color, emotion, and storytelling could come together on canvas and explored themes from the popular author O'Keeffe.
I have worked for actually the library system for 25 years, but am retired now and joyfully enjoying doing some art. Georgia O'Keeffe mainly did landscapes, a lot of florals. She did some bones. She spent a lot of time in the desert, and so that is reflected. She was a modernist, and she used a lot of color blending. so that her colors really flow. She has a really organic feel for painting. She was her own person, and the Georgia O'Keeffe painting is very much that. It's flows, you blend, so it makes a really interesting subject for people to learn from. I do a very guided program so that they'll know where to go, what to do, what paints to use first. Drying is always a part of the equation. But what I want from people is I want them to have a creative time where they're in a really supported environment, and people that normally would not maybe have a brush in their hand, but they'll have a brush in their hand for this, and they will use the colors and the blending, as I spoke about Georgia before. Her colors flowed. That's going to be the biggest challenge for this program, is to get people to kind of let loose and just let that color go. And I'm going to tell them I have a pattern I use, and they can use that. If they feel comfortable doing their own poppy, I want them to go with that. I want them to express themselves. I want them to come away with something that they're proud of, and I want to help them with that. I think it's very important to offer these programs. It was part of the work I did while I was here. And one thing great about libraries is library staffs come from very divergent professions and training, and they bring that to the program. And I think it's important because we are born to create. We are born to express ourselves. So let's get people who, as I said before, might not have a chance to do that, to explore that about themselves and to create. That's what I love about libraries. Libraries, I always say, are the great equalizer. They provide an opportunity for everyone to do something with their challenges and with their goals and what they want to do. There's a program for you. If there's something you want to do, there's a program for you. If it's not here, tell them. Libraries are the best deal out there. I mean, they offer everything. As I was saying before, that's the wonderful things about them. People think of libraries as books. It's so much more. It's so much bigger. And if there's something that you're interested in, come to your library. Even if you just need a place to be quiet and collect yourself, come to the library. It is the best. It's part of our society. It's a free society. Come to the library. You'll be able to express yourself there.
It's exciting to know that the library offers so many wonderful programs. Check out your local branch to see what creative events they are offering this summer by visiting Fulcolibrary.org. At the East Point Library, Juneteenth was more than a holiday. It was a celebration of culture and voice. Patrons shared powerful stories, created expressive artwork, and deepened their understanding of Juneteenth's legacy through interactive displays and community conversations.
The Juneteenth event held at the East Point Library was a combination about history, curated books, art, some crafts, some community, and a little dancing. The acronym really was RED, and we were inspired by the color red, which is one of the flag colors for Juneteenth. I use RED as a way to have an acronym for resilience, education, and dancing. Some things will be on paper, and this was one of those situations where that particular watershed moment for our country was on paper, but not in practice. And for many different reasons, there was a delay in the Juneteenth celebration forward to come, mostly because the enslaved people of Galveston were not aware that they were free due to the Emancipation Proclamation. And I think that it's our duty to talk about history in its many realms and thoughts, because people just don't know if they just don't know. And this particular event was a way to use the arts, use the books to encounter history in a different form and fashion. I have to say, as a creative and as an artistic person, I find that art creates an opportunity for people to engage in tough conversations or situations, or just a way to even challenge their own creativity. We had materials that you could tear just go ahead, there's no judgment, you don't have to do anything within the lines. And so we had a collection of a range of reds. We had yarn, we had beads and little gems, and it was just an amazing array. So we had very simple art pieces that were on a 3x5 to those that were built into three-dimensional pieces using some of what was on the table. And it was just beautiful because once we finished up, we were also able to share these presentations and let people see how they were able to represent red in terms of that inspiration, again, going back to those colors. Those were compliments to the Juneteenth effort for Pan-Africanism, the flag, the red, black, green, and gold. But we were really trying to stay with the red that was a common color between the American flag, the Juneteenth flag, and the Pan-African flag. So the idea of using art and using art up front was really important. It really would decrease the resistance, if you will, about those who said, oh, I can't do art or I can't do this. And it also provided an opportunity to build community. And that was just a fabulous moment to hear them talking and getting to know one another. And that was a perfect segue for coming into yet another space that was a little more intentionally designed as well to give full attention to the presentation while still sitting next to, because you now have a friend that you could bring into the room, but to ready yourself for the information that we were to go ahead and share. So for instance, pulling up a video clip on Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth, was just a critical moment. The room was absolutely silent because so many did not know her journey. They did not know that this woman walked miles and miles and miles. This woman walked eventually all the way to Washington, D.C. to make sure that she was standing and bringing information for the celebration of Juneteenth to become into law. And it now is on June 17th, 2021, it actually became a federal holiday in the United States of America, and how important that was. And we were also able in this particular space where it was more curated for the works that we could look at, the books, hearing more information and hearing even some of the stories from the audience. I was astounded that on a rainy night in Georgia, that there were people who traveled from as far as Conyers, Georgia, to come to this event. There was the pull of what could be exciting, or the anticipation about learning more about the historical aspects of Juneteenth, as well as I'm going to go because this is a gathering. This is a gathering of people, whether or not they're like-minded or not, but this is an opportunity to learn more from those who I sit next to, those who I get a chance to dance with, and understanding that there is no judgment when you create a safe space. And that's what I applaud this library for doing, but also there is so much intentionality in the work that I do as this cultural broker to ensure that spaces are safe and that everyone feels welcomed, and that we don't judge if you have no artistic talent, and we certainly don't judge if you cannot dance. I watch these young kids take over and say, I know how to do that. And I also watch some seniors grab their fans, which is a part of the dance, and say, well, I know how to do it too. And so to be able to watch this intergenerational community dancing, it was just a phenomenal. I could not have asked for a better way to end the program. When the patrons first came into the art space, they had an opportunity to write out what red is or what freedom is. And I told them just a word or a phrase. And what's an important notion is that as a writer, I'm drawn to doing community poems. And so I stepped away at some point during the workshop, and I took the information that the patrons had given, and I was able to compile a community or collective poem, and then I had an opportunity to read it. And it's so amazing to watch the faces when they know that that's their part, and to be able to give snaps on, yes, I did that part, and I'm now part of this collective that will be out in the world forever.
If you want to learn more about community programs at your library, please visit our events page at Fulcolibrary.org. You never know what you'll discover and be able to participate at your local branch.
The Center for Puppetry Arts has been a long-established place here in Midtown Atlanta. It is a cultural and arts establishment that focuses on the international art form of puppetry. So here we have performances, education workshops, creative puppet workshops, as well as our museum featuring puppets from all over the world and familiar faces, familiar names that most folks are gonna recognize if they are familiar with any form of puppetry. The Center for Puppetry Arts Georgia Public Library Partnership Pass is a pass that you're able to access through your library card that grants you access to our Center for Puppetry Arts. Primarily, that grants you access to our museum, which has artifacts dating all the way back to early Stone Age, and puppetry throughout history. Familiar faces, familiar names such as Jim Henson and the Muppets, and other familiar names and faces like Gumby, Mystery Science Theater, all sorts of stuff throughout the history of Center for Puppetry Arts. So to take advantage of your pass, take your library card, you will have to go to your library where you check out a physical pass. Once you have that physical pass, you come to the Center for Puppetry Arts and show it at our ticket office. That grants you up to 4 free entry into our museum. Depending on when you participate, that can also get you 4 free entry into our film series. And then that can grant you 4 25% off tickets to some of our select family program performances as well. We offer family series performances that can range from ages very, very young, so toddler age all the way up to high school age, and family-oriented programming for sure. Most of those tickets are also going to come with a creative puppet workshop, so if you get to see one of our performances, and if you use that library pass, some of those select performances you can get up to 25% off of a ticket. With our performances, of course, you get to see a top-of-the-line, well-produced puppetry show here in modern times. It'll really blow your mind. You may think of puppetry as an antiquated art form, but it truly is amazing to see one of our performances live. Additionally, we also have our special exhibit galleries that rotates fairly regularly to highlight certain things, whether that is a traveling artist in the realm of puppetry or familiar names like we've got coming up, a Fraggle Rock special exhibit happening. The Center for Puppetry Arts is here almost 365 days a year. Just about every day. We are closed on Mondays, but Tuesdays through Saturdays, the museum is here and open for perusal. We highly encourage you to check it out. Schedule some time. If you can, come see a performance. They're one-of-a-kind, super unique puppet performances, unlike anything else going on right now. To find out more about what the Center for Puppetry Arts has to offer, we highly encourage you to visit puppet.org. It's that simple. Puppet.org will get you to where you need to go to find out more about our great museum, our performances, our education, and so on here at the Center for Puppetry Arts.
Libraries are so important to establish early literacy skills for children, but they're also just as important to maintain the skills that children learn when they're young. I love to bring my children to the library. The Kirkwood branch is on our street, and every Wednesday that we can come to story time, we do. Stories are housed here. You can come to your local library and you can be anywhere in the world without having to leave the room or the corner of the library that you're in. Families should participate in summer reading because it's a great opportunity to see where your children are at, but it's also an amazing opportunity to bridge the gap between summer and the start of the next school year. Teachers often spend the first 6 to 12 weeks even maintaining and going back to reteach what students lose over the summer. And if you expose your children to any text, any language, any additional exposure and opportunity makes that transition back to school so much more seamless, and it gives kids an opportunity to explore again. It gives them an opportunity to read the books that they want to read. It gives parents an opportunity to read to their children, and it gives parents an opportunity to have their children read back to them. So it only brings families closer together, and the kids love it. They get to see other kids from their neighborhood, they get to see other kids from the county that participate, and it brings us all together.
This summer, there's one place where creativity runs wild, where stories come to life and fun is just the beginning. Explore a new hobby or discover hidden talents. Join your public library's summer reading program and dive into books, movies, music, and games, plus hands-on activities and awesome events to spark your creativity. Whether you're a creator, a dreamer, or just here for the fun, there's something for you. Visit your local library's website for details, and let's color our world together this summer. If you're interested in getting more updates about what's going on in the Fulton County Library System, please subscribe to our bi-weekly e-newsletter. You will get updates on new materials, staff recommended book lists, event recaps, highlights, and more. Visit our website to subscribe today. Thank you for watching Library Access presented by the Fulton County Library System. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Fulcolibrary, and visit us at fulcolibrary.org. And don't forget to download the Beanstack app, log your books, and register for summer reading. I'm your host, Brianna Botsford, and I will see you next time on Library Access.